indeed. That's really good to hear. Lights are on, 5 on. Longish wait once again. Here we go. We are racing at Oulton Park, and in black and blue. Mike Epps gets away well. Dave Marshall second. Dan Zielos is going to settle into third place as they go through Old Hall. It's Max Edmondson in fourth position. This is always a little bit of a worrying moment, particularly when you've got a big field as they head down into Cascades for the first time. Edmondson putting a bit of pressure under on Dan Zielos, and now they come through Lakeside for the first time. Nice to see there's not a great big rock barrier there, which we had at Oulton Park for real, I think, last year, which was a little bit worrying for some of the formulas. Here we come then into the island hairpin. Goes shot, and Dan Zielos gets tagged by Max Edmondson. Zielos dropping back down the order. That was hard luck for him. Max Edmondson dropping back as well.
Yeah, all the action there on the start of the first lap. Unfortunate one for Dan, but he seems to be have recovered reasonably well there.
Yeah, Dan in fourth place. Juggernaut Jordan Brennan fifth from Max Coates. Jack McIntyre seventh. Matt Richards next. Robbie Stapleford makes progress in ninth. Isaac Smith is in 10th place. Keeping an eye on Damien Hall as well, looking to notch up his first points of the year, currently running in 13th place.
Solid start for him, that's really good. Really
yeah,
good
great to see. And again, it just shows how competitive it is that you can get up into the, further up the ladder. And it's just hard work all the time, relentless hard work. And that's what Epps is doing at the moment. Safety car deployed. You can see the cars going from side to side and repeating what we had at Donington Park. So things are going to calm down. Epps, we know, will be very much switched on to what to do on the safety car restart. The one we had at Donington Park was exemplary. I don't think anybody gained any advantage out of it at all, which was quite unusual to see, but just goes to show how very well briefed the drivers are. So safety car is virtual safety car deployed, and Mike Epps leading from Dave Marshall. Points from first to second place will go 20 to 17, so it's 3 points advantage by taking the race win over P2, which is going to be absolutely key for the drivers. So with a 2-point lead at the moment, that could extend things to 5 for Mike Epps. Realistically, Dave Marshall is going to be looking at the other sim category drivers. Second in the sim category at the moment is Jack McIntyre, and Matt Richards is third. The gap between McIntyre and Richards 45 to 39. And of course it's important to get in the top 3 because those guys get a test. Second position is a test, isn't it, in Mini Coopers, which is a great...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had a problem last year, obviously, with the so again, those have been carried over for the previous runners up from last year. So it'd be good to see that happening this year.
The other thing I was going to throw in, if it is of any value, I don't know if it is, but I was going to say if any of the winners from the Sim Championship, if they've got people along, I'm happy to do a meet and greet with them just to say hello if they've got any guests coming along. And so if that adds value, that can be part of the prize as well. But I'm happy to do that and explain what we do over a racing weekend.
Oh, that'd be great, Richard. I'm sure that people would be delighted to have that. Fingers crossed we do get back to having spectators at the events this year fairly early on. Obviously, the delayed season, really primarily to try and encourage that possibility. I think the likelihood is that we might be waiting until the summer months before we see spectators at events, but of course we'll have to just wait and see. Anyway, back to racing.
Yeah, I think spot on there, Anthony. Here we go, racing again. Mike Epps makes a decent one. Dave Marshall will chase him down into Old Hall Corner. Lights are green. We're back racing here at Oulton Park. It's Epps looking to try and grab only his second win. We've had 4 races so far, of course, this year. The only double winner, Dave Marshall, is running in D2 at the moment, so we'll see whether Dave can start to put the pressure on. Rob Butler, what a first lap he had, up into third place, Rob Butler. He was back on row 4, so up on podium. Dan Zielos is in 4th, then Jordan Brennan, Jack McIntyre 6th position, Max Coates 7th, Matt Richards and Isaac Smith next up from Luke Kinsley. Ryan Elliott is in 11th, David Hall now up into 12th place, so David very well suited to Oulton Park. And for safety car coming out again, the one thing you can say about David Hall is that the agent driver will never have even seen Oulton Park. He'll have only done it on the sim.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. As I said, really good to see him moving up the field. I remember from the first season, clearly still a great driver, but towards the sort of bottom end of the standings, and to make it way up there into the mid pack and making progress now. That's really good to see. that he's made that improvement. Also, Josh Martin, he was a real-world racer for a couple of seasons back, hoping to see him out again this year. Not sure whether that's going to be possible, but he's a lovely lad, so it would be nice to see him out if we can.
Max having a bit of a dice there and getting ready to go once again. Side by side, it's supposed to be single file at the end of the safety car period. Oh, I thought, okay, incorrect safety car graphic, so it's still leading from Marshall. Rob Butler next up. We'll try and get a handle on fastest laps at the moment. Fastest lap is with Dave Marshall, so Marshall clawing a point back, so important we could. The overall championship could well come down to the likes of single point. Running a little bit wide there was Matt Richards in the 44. So Epps and Marshall very close. Good scrap on the third. Three-way battle at the moment going on for third place. And diving up the inside line and getting tagged there was Isaac Smith. I can't quite see it. Was it Josh Hislop looking up the inside line? But contact between the two. And Isaac Smith out of the top 10. Shame for him. Another driver we would expect to see up at the sharp end of things as they come down into Nickelbrook once again. So Epps still there. Marshall P2. Rob Butler trying to close in as well.
I think also Luke Kisley must have been involved in that somehow. He's absolutely tumbled down the timing sheets right to the bottom of the right to the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, it's a shame for Luke, isn't it? He was one of the drivers from our previous season who made the most of the reverse sprints and grabbed a couple of good results in the latter stages of that. He's going to have to work hard to get up into the top 15. There is Dan Zelos, fourth place now, about to try and have a nibble away at a podium, chasing Rob Butler. Those two dropping away a little bit as they battle from the lead pair. Here we come into Old Hall corner, and Zelos has a look, finds the inside line as he goes into Old Hall side by side. Butler gets a little bit of a run wide. Jordan Brennan sniffing now around fourth position as well. So this three-way scrap, Butler's coming back on the inside line. I think Butler read that very well indeed to grab back third position now as off onto the grass goes Dan Zelos. He'll rejoin in fifth position just ahead of Jack McIntyre.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting, although I suspect they'll all be getting a bill from Jonathan Palmer for some extra grass seed.
Yeah, Jonathan, we like to poke fun at him every now and again, but what superb venues in the real world. Yeah, absolutely immaculate track. Great staff as well. I mean, the staff look after you when you're there too, which is absolutely fantastic. So, the Devanti car has got some work to do now to try and get in front again of Jordan Brennan, to get him back where he was, battling away with Rob Butler. Those in front to start with. Epps goes across the line again, still in the lead. Let's have a look at the lap times again. 1 minute 30.612 for Epps, a 1 minute 36.72. So Epps is now the faster of those two. I'm going to have difficulty scrolling down the whole list to see if anyone else has gone faster. My apologies, but I think Epps with the fastest lap and leading Dave Marshall at the moment. Rob Butler having to defend, Jordan Brennan defending as well from the Devanti Tyres car. Then we've got Jack McIntyre coming up next. It's a silent assassin. Max Coates having a strong run in seventh with Matt Richards. Ryan Elliott is in ninth place. This could be Ryan's best finish, first top 10 of the season for Ryan Elliott. He can stay where he is. And Damien Hall up into the top 10. Super stuff from Damien. Sorry to bang on about it, but it's a mighty impressive drive from Damien Hall ahead of Jack Noller in 11th. Max Edwards in 12th from Josh Martin. Liam Lambert's in the points. He's in 14th place from Andy Dorman. So we've got a couple of drivers here in with a shout at getting their first points on the door for this season.
Yeah, they're doing a good job there. And just going back to social media, we've got some, I think it's another nickname, although I'm not sure who it's for. So we've got Come On Bear. Who do you think Bear is?
That's Jordan
Bear
Brennan.
Emoji.
That's Jordan Brennan, isn't it? I think the Bear.
Could be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen him referred to as Bear. So Bear or Juggernaut, either of the two. He's got the luxury of having two nicknames.
We've got a competition for the most prolific social media commentator between Adrian King and Laura Lynn Blendman-Ali, I think. That's a long name. There must be two people on sharing a social media account, I guess. But anyway, so yes, they seem to be competing for the most prolific social media commentator.
Max Coates was talking to me about, and unfortunately I can't broadcast what Max Coates was saying, but Paul O'Neill probably would say it and get a slap wrist and get away with it. I would probably be sacked if I said what Max Coates said to me at the start, but we'll do that one off air. Maybe he'll get to what Max Coates said he is perhaps going to get known as. We were talking about the number of championships that he competes in. Jordan Brennan then goes up to third, so great move by Juggernaut Brennan going up. Now we've got Dan Seelos again having a look at Rob Butler. Butler being forced wide there. Jack McIntyre trying to come through as well. So Butler gets his moment on the grass. Big sort out here. Brennan up to third. So here comes the 37 car now around the outside of Dan Seelos. Jack McIntyre having a look, and he's teeing him up. Gives a little side swipe there. That might be looked at by Andy Ringland. George Brennan clearing third. So this is the battle for fourth place. Zelos on the outside line. Rob Butler's going to have a look as well. And Dan here, if he can hold on, will need to get across as they come over Hilltop, down the hill in towards Knickerbrook. He's got it. So up into fourth place again goes Dan Zelos. Jack McIntyre just backing out a little bit. Rob Butler still sixth. Max Coates in seventh, closing in. And then Matt Richards in 8th place. Ryan Elliott a little way behind that group, so working hard to try and reel them in at the moment. Just into the second half of this race, as we watch the lead pair on the inset, Dave Marshall getting closer and closer to Mike Epps out front. Marshall's last lap 1 minute 30.329, so they're trading fastest laps here, and Marshall's got momentum. Machine Marshall has momentum. We won't do any more iterations, that can get a little bit disjointed. 37 Jack McIntyre still chasing that fourth place car of Dan Zelos. Jordan Brennan is away and clear at the moment. Has had a brace of fourth positions last weekend at Donington Park. He was my driver of the day last weekend. He's going to go one better here and stay in third place. First podium of the year in the offing for the Liqui Moly car, just going out of shot. Good battle for fourth though, Anthony.
Yeah, that was very exciting, wasn't it? There's certainly a lot going on there. Obviously, still allowing the leaders just to get away and extend their lead further. But no, great racing, definitely.
Side by side for lead position and going through. Dave Marshall's got his nose in front now in the 66. Mike Epps has got to try and fight back. The two teammates here are side by side. They were side by side. It's Dave Marshall that takes the lead. He's very good under pressure, but a great chaser is Dave Marshall. Picked his moment well. We're well into the second half of the race, and Epps will want to fight back here. Look at the gap they've got over Jordan Brennan in third place. So the two class championship and overall championship leaders are away. Epps is the chaser now in blue, and it's Dave Marshall with a very, very neat move there going through. If we see him replicate that in the real world, I'll tell you what, we're in for a treat when he hits the track for real.
Oh, beautiful bit of driving. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing him as one of the gaggle of Coopers blasting around Thruxton, 5 abreast as it was this year, and I'm sure his racing skills will come forth.
I absolutely agree with that. He's under some mighty pressure at the moment. So too is Dan Zelos, the main shot. So Zelos coming under pressure from Jack McIntyre. Jack doesn't want any more points to slip away. McIntyre on the inside line as the Devanti car runs a little bit wide. So he's made the most of that. Now we've got Rob Butler coming up ready to have a go. Look at the inset. Look at Jack McIntyre, cool, calm and collected, enjoying his race here. Just has a little bit of a shuffle in. You see, he's not strapped in hard enough here, is he, in the seat, as he moves around. It's one of the differences, of course, between real world and sim racing. And Rob Butler exploring the outside line. Max Coates knows that he might be able to pop the 71 machine up the inside line. Coates followed by Matt Richards. Ryan Elliott trying to reel them in as well in 9th. Damien Hall still in 10th. Great stuff from the Bajan driver, Damien Hall. Haven't seen too much of Damien on screen because there's been a heck of a lot happening elsewhere. Top 50 at the moment. Andy Dorman, the last driver in the points. Ethan Hamilton looks like he's going to get his name on the board for points as well for the first time. He's 40. Provisional pole for race 2, Josh Martin and Max Edmondson. So Max Edmondson, who was up on front row pace at Donington Park outright, looks like he could have a reverse grid front row start for race 2. We've got 5 minutes to go still. We're looking at Max Coates in the inset, working hard. Do with a little bit more lighting, Max, if you're going to be listening to us for race 2. I'm sure he's got other things to worry about. But there's Max Edmondson.
He's so far north, it's probably still night time there.
That's very true. So, having a look now, Max Edmondson looking on the inside line of Damien Hall. So Edmondson up into 10th, runs a little bit wide. Damien Hall's going to try and return the favour, can't quite do it with enough momentum. So Damien in 11th, still in the points, and Edmondson actually relegates himself off the front row with that move. So he goes on to row 2, potentially for the reverse grid race 2. There in the inset is Damien Hall.
Talking of night time, what time is it in Barbados?
Do you know, I've no idea. I need to check that out. I would imagine that Damien's got a few followers who may well be online. So if you are one of Damien's followers watching this live, please ping us and let us know. So it's got to be 4 or 5 hours
behind, isn't it?
Yeah,
so yeah, it's going to be pretty early in the morning. Is the answer, I think.
Bit of contact happening again there. So Dave Marshall, best lap at the moment, 1 minute 30.329, and he's got that extra point provisionally over Mike Epps at the minute. So Epps with a 2-point championship coming into the race could find himself with a 2-point deficit if things stay the way they stand with 4 minutes on the clock. Fascinating outright championship scenario once again. Marshall, Epps, Brennan third, McIntyre fourth, Dan Zelos is next up from Matt Richards, who we're looking at the moment. Again, Matt, a very cool customer there, just looking to try and catch up with Max Coates in 6th position. Bit of a gap between the two at the moment. Rob Butler, who was up on podium pace earlier on, busy chasing him in 8th place. Ryan Elliott goes through in white, and Max Evanson in white as well in 10th place. Damien Hall is there in 11th, and Marshall not being left, not leaving Mike Epps at the moment, but going to be interesting to see again on the reverse grid race how much pressure they can take as Rob Butler dives down the inside, bit of contact on the 44 car of Matt Richards. They both managed to escape that. There was just a little dive down the inside, a wee bit of contact, but nothing changes as a result of that, which is key.
So we've got a bit of intel from our followers on social media. So I've been confirmed by a number of people that it's 6:38 or maybe 9 now in Barbados in the morning. So yeah, it's an early start for Damien. And there's got another comment here as well from the Martin team. Josh Martin's team's struggling with some technical issues today. So perhaps that explains a little bit about where he's currently sitting in the standings.
Yeah, we'd normally expect Josh to be a little bit further up, but he's on for provisional pole, isn't he? So could well be on pole position for race 2 if they can get things sorted out. So we look at Ryan Elliott.
Maybe it's a ploy.
Get a pole. It could be, sometimes that can work, but I'm sure we've got the outright points for sure.
No, absolutely.
So, again, a challenge on here as Rob Butler has a look down the inside line, working really hard here and chasing Ryan Elliott. This is for 8th place. Matt Richards up ahead of them. Coming down through Cascades, and a bit of a wide run down through there. Last point at the moment still with Andy Dorman. Ethan Hamilton 14th. Jack Noller is in 13th place, looking for his 2nd point score of the year. Rob Butler, is his dogged driving from Butler, still chasing Ryan Elliott, working hard. Ryan Elliott under massive pressure. He was the driver you might remember last year, actually, we really marked out as being a super defender. Probably gets fed up with me saying that. He's much rather known as an attacking driver, which he can do, but we have seen him do some great defensive driving over the course of the 1.5 seasons we've had thus far.
No, I mean, great defensive driving can help to create some pretty exciting viewing as well, can't it? With everybody else queuing up behind and trying to make their move. Looks like the machine has consolidated his lead there, so I think my original prediction looks like it's going to come true.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on there. Good call. Dave Marshall from P2 on the grid.
It's not a difficult one, really, is it, though, Richard?
No, I'm guessing not.
No, it's but it's good to see other people. I think a bit closer than perhaps they were last time, particularly obviously Mike. So yeah, it's really good to see. Good to see Jack Davidson out there as well with his very bright pink and black livery.
Yeah, he's running in 18th place. Luke Kitsley's ahead of him. Luke's done well to recover.
Yes, he has.
Moment earlier on. Liam Lambert still knocking on the door of a first point, 16th position. Andy Dorman is ahead of him in the last point scoring position at the moment in 15th. So Kitsley, Lambert and Dorman all looking to score that final valuable point. Robbie Stapleton is 20th. Not my Farrell, I think, makes up the place. Liam Lambert's dropping back a little bit now, so Lambert's had a problem.
I think he had a big off.
Yeah. Sad to see from...
that would have got Chloe in the parts truck excited.
So 23, Josh Hislop there. Josh was on the podium, broke a run of lowly results really with a podium at Donington Race 2. It's great to see the Kinetic Motorsport car up there, that nice lime green livery. He had 16th, 15th and 12th in the first 3 races of the year, and then banged in that really impressive podium in Race 2 at Donington Park. Back to Mr Butler, who's been very entertaining. Don't forget, out there in social media land, the clock is down, so we've got another lap to go to message us with who you think your driver of the race is. It doesn't necessarily have to be Dave Marshall or Whitecaps up front, so let us have your thoughts on that. So on to the last lap, and Ryan Elliott still being chased. Max Edmondson still having a good look. He's going to have a wide run here. Got a contact, I think, as they went through Old Hall. It's a tight track, isn't it? The one thing we really picked up from qualifying at Jordan's hot lap, it's a very difficult track to overtake on, as the inset shows Dave Marshall clear now. Marshall the leader, excellent second place. Jordan Brennan in P3. The final lap of this race, contact again, and Rob Butler is pushed off track. He's going to drop outside. Is he of the top 10? He goes down to 11th place. Damien Hall back into that 10th position, but it's Dave Marshall on the last half lap here at Oulton Park, who's going to start in P12 again for race 2. Mike Epps will line up alongside him on the 6th row of the grid, and this is going to be a 3rd win of the year. We said it was going to be more competitive this year. It is, but the only driver to have notched up more than 1 win so far is this man, Dave Marshall. It looks like he's going to rack up a hat-trick of wins here. So a 2nd win of the season comes through dearly for the last time. Our virtual checker flag being readied, and he crosses the line to take the win. 3 wins for Dave Marshall, goes back into the championship lead. Mike Epps is in 2nd position. Jordan Brennan will complete our virtual podium. Jack McIntyre, good 4th position for Jack McIntyre there. Dan Seelos is in 5th place from Max Coates. Then it was Matt Richards taking 7th place, Ryan Elliott in 8th place, Max Edmondson down in 9th position. 10th goes to Damien Hall, so Damien's going to be up at the sharp end in the reverse grid race. I think we saw him do that a couple of times last year. He completes the top 10. Rob Butler is going to be up at the front of race 2 as well. He took 11th place, and Josh Martin will be our provisional pole sitter for the 2nd race of the day. Here's confirmation of the result. Dave Marshall, I think, held on to fastest lap as well by the look of it. Mike Epps 2nd, Brennan 3rd, McIntyre 4th, Zelos, Coates, Richards, Elliott, Edmondson and Hall completing the top 10, Josh Martin 11th. The point score is completed by Rob Butler, Jack Noller, Ethan Hamilton and Andy Dorman. Good recovery from Luke Kidsley into 16th from Jack Davidson and Tom O'Farrell. Robbie Stapleford 19th from Josh Hislop. Then it was Kenny Press, Liam Lambert in 22nd place. 23rd goes to Simon Reed from Alfie Glennie. Craig Timmins 25th, Isaac Smith and Josh Stanton were next up. Well, we could make these podium interviews last all day. I'm going on a little bit, but it does take us right up ready for our 2nd race of the day. And as you can see, Josh Martin on pole position here with Rob Butler lining up alongside row 2, Damien Hall and Max Edmondson. Away we go, and without further ado, it's going to be a great start from Josh Martin coming down into Old Hall. 3rd position is our Bajan Cop, the Copper Piston himself in 3rd position. This is the worrying moment, as we say, although, as you heard from Mike Epps, it might be worrying when they get down into the hairpin for the first time, side by side for the lead. Butler having a very good look at it. There is Max Edmondson running in P3 now. So Edmondson from 4th on the grid makes it up into 3rd place. This is the part of the track that Mike Epps was talking about. Oh, and off goes Butler. Is he going to slide in front of the cars? He does, as they go through. Lovely bit of direction there going onto our overhead camera, and it's Max Edmondson who comes through in the lead. Matt Richards P2, Dan Seelos is 3rd, Seelos up into 3rd, Damien Hall 4th, then Jack McIntyre, Jordan Brennan 6th from Josh Martin recovering for 7th, Max Coates in 8th, and it did all go pear-shaped, didn't it? Safety car unsurprisingly coming out, and that is exactly what Mike Epps was talking about.
Yeah, that was a nasty one, wasn't it? And yeah, I imagine some of the drivers involved in that were had a little bit of a worrying moment as they saw a car spearing across the grass towards them, the hairpin there.
Yeah, it was Rob Butler, I think, was the first one. I thought we were going to get a good long look at Rob Butler up at the sharp end of things, but not quite sure whether he had any contact or not. But it's Max Edmondson leads from Matt Richards here at Oulton for our second race of the day. Dan Seelos next up from Damien Hall. So Seelos made some good progress. Actually, I shouldn't be surprised. He was back on row 3, wasn't he, Dan Seelos, with Max Coates. So those two, Coates down in 8th place. Seelos managed to thread his way through. And again, looking for a first podium. Rob Butler's car has even got the reality, and we said this in Series 1, has got the, you know, the tyre marks and scuffs on the sides of the car. It's amazing how the software manages to replicate that.
Yeah, it's certainly pretty cool.
So Max Edmondson, lead driver, not unfamiliar territory for him, led the reverse grid race at Brands Hatch and led for a long time, and of course he will build on that confidence that he had from there. He knows he's quick round here because he had the fastest time in practice for a little while this morning and was quick at Donington Park, but I guess you're going to say, you know, it's all about what's happening this weekend, and he's looking pretty sharp. Matt Richards right behind him as well. Dan Seelos in P3 will be looking to come through in the Devante Tyres car. Damien Hall in 4th, hoping to stay in the top 10, add to the points that he scored in race number 1.
It's a good drive from Damien, definitely.
It was very, very good drive indeed. So safety car will be getting ready to come back in.
Just looking at our social media comments again, I think we've got someone watching perhaps in Sri Lanka that mentioned the time. That was a little bit earlier on in the comments, but also this is an interesting fact for you. So how do you think the nickname the Bear or Bear started for Jordan Brennan?
I don't know.
Well, so this is an interesting one. He won the Teddy Bears picnic at school, according to our social media followers.
Yes, he's going to thank me for that when he gets on ITV.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Okay, so we're hearing that Andy Dorman had a little bit of contact out. I think accidentally while the safety car was on. So Andy down in 21st position. It's Max Edmondson that leads them away from Matt Richards. So it is a race very much on for the lead of this one as they go through Lakeside once again. And Richards putting the pressure on. Looks on the outside line. You really want to be teeing up the inside line, which is what Max Edmondson's got at the moment defensively. And you can see why the 44 car struggling, but might get the cutback and a run here if he could just power his way up over Hilltop. He's got Dan Seelos in his virtual mirrors as well in 3rd place. The red, black and white Devante car. Damien Hall still in 4th position. Jack Mack, the silent assassin, is in 5th place. We had a quick look there at Ethan Hamilton in the 32 car, High Road Motorsport Ensign Machine, 29th championship, running through. But always loved the reverse grid racing, always good to see, and it just gives us a chance to focus on different drivers up at the front end.
No, absolutely. That's the great thing about the reverse grids. It just mixes things up and allows some other people to shine. You know, perhaps they haven't got the outright pace, but they're great racers, and you know, it gives them a chance to perhaps develop that the experience of running at the front.
It is very much all about that, isn't it? We're riding with Matt Richards, so watching the 2nd place driver, watching what he's doing on his. Interesting that, unlike some of the drivers not using gloves, goes to the outside line here. He's going to try and go to run into Old Hall. He's going to be brave to do it on the outside, so he might look at a cutback on the inside. Running a little bit tight there was Max Edmondson, and as a result I think that we've got Richards challenging for it. Now Edmondson's still there side by side as they come down through Old Hall and into Cascade, still side by side. The blue car of Matt Richards trying to tee up that inside run, but Max Edmondson holding on well. This is bringing Dan Seelos into the mix as well. Seelos is better back round the outside.
Yeah, Dan's having a good race here. I think he's got an opportunity perhaps to pick up a place. It looks like he's managed it. Yep.
He has, yeah.
Nips into 2nd.
Very well read there by Dan Seelos. He's going to have a look now for the lead. So it's Edmondson the leader, as he was at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit for our first event in the reverse grid race. But watch the likes of Jack McIntyre back in 4th, the Bill White car of McIntyre, Jordan Brennan having a teddy bear's picnic and coming through from a podium position. Remember, was at the back of the reverse 12, is up into 5th place. Damien Hall 6th, Max Coates 7th, then Brian Elliott, Dave Marshall 9th, Marshall 2 places, Kieran Mike Epps. Are making great progress here. It's Robert Stapleford up into the top 10, wasn't in the Robbie Stapleford wasn't in the reverse part of the group, but has got himself into top 10 here. So Robbie Stapleford, whether he's had some connection issues or whatever, getting sorted out as we watch Dan Zelos having a little bit of a Mr. Whippy moment there, and that drops him down to 3rd again behind Matt Richards. Across the line they go again. So Max Edmondson will be probably grateful for the squabbling that's going on. McIntyre goes up into 3rd, Zelos down to 4th. And Jordan Brennan looking to try and make up a position as well. The inset shot there of Jack McIntyre. We've got a pass going on. Robbie Stapleford down the inside line there of Brian Elliott. Very neatly done move by the 24 car, the profile racing engine machine. 3rd in the championship, Robbie Stapleford. And keen to make up some points as Jordan Brennan now starts to challenge Dan Zelos for 4th place. Again, difficult to know exactly where to look. It's Max Edmondson out front on the 2nd lead over Matt Richards in P2. Jack McIntyre is 3rd. Brennan now up into 4th place. Dan Zelos down to 5th. Work to do for Dan. Still on his overall results, getting stronger and stronger meeting by meeting. But you know, when you're running in podium pace, that's where you want to stay. You want to get that first podium under your belt, then challenge for the outright wins. But Zelos improving meeting by meeting, which is the key thing. It's ahead of Coates. There is Brennan, 4th place. So we're going to see 2 podiums for Jordan Brennan. This is strong work again from my driver of the day at Donington Park. Brennan chasing after Jack Mack now.
Yeah, there's definitely some action going on here, isn't there, in this sort of front 6 or so. Very much Dan Zelos absolutely in the mix there.
Mike Epps coming through.
Mike absolutely noticed that. Dave Marshall dropping down the field a little.
Yeah, Mike takes no prisoners coming through the field, goes through now into 7th place. And Marshall, I think, ran wide down to 13th place. So he's going to put Epps potentially back into the championship lead. But we've got plenty of time, still got half the race for Dave Marshall to get back into the mix. Edmondson still leading. Matt Richards P2. Jack McIntyre is 3rd from Jordan Brennan. Then it's Dan Zelos, Mike Epps ahead of Robbie Stapleford. Now Stapleford, from much further down the grid, will be able to, I think, learn from and certainly follow Mike Epps here. He's got the pace, Robbie Stapleford, to do it. So remember, Epps 2nd in the championship. Stapleford, I think, might have dropped to 4th position in the championship after race 1. As you'll appreciate, as we go straight from race to podium interviews and then into race 2, we don't have a chance to do any mathematics for you particularly quickly, but we'll give you our best guess in terms of those. Dan Zelos still 5th from Coates, and Brennan trying to close in as well on Max Coates as we watch Mike Epps in the number 12 car, 7th place. Going to have a race on his hands here with Robbie Stapleford right behind him. There is Max Coates in the 71 car. Dan Zelos now down behind him. These two replicating virtually what they did on track for real last year, both real world mini drivers. Dan, I think, hoping to make an announcement in the next few weeks about what he's going to be up to this year. Of course, we'd love to see him move up the ladder, but equally it'd be good to see him stay as part of the mini family. Similar story really with Max Coates as well. I think unfinished business for Max in the mini championship and for Dan Zelos as well. I don't want to commentate on them this year. Change, I think, there going on as Jack McIntyre now goes into P2, the silent assassin, living up to his nickname.
Indeed, that was always a part of the first season, really, that just quietly moving his way up the field. So no, definitely nice to see that again. We've got another nickname on social media, Tugger. Now I don't know whether that's actually something to do with the Juggernaut, and still basically another Jordan Brennan nickname, which it's the Bear, the Juggernaut, Juggy Bear, and maybe Tugger as well. But perhaps somebody on social media can confirm that, whether that's somebody else.
He's getting plenty of coverage, isn't he, in terms of nicknames. What we might have to do is put all the nicknames in a hat and pull one out. His race thing to do. But either way, he's having a super meeting again, and in 4th place, chasing down Matt Richards. Max Edmondson, though, super drive from him out front. Jack McIntyre second, Matt Richards third, Jordan Brennan is fourth, and Edmondson here doing what he did at Brands Hatch. Looks a little bit more confident though, Anthony, because he's actually got that little bit of a lead at the moment as we're just into the second half of the race.
Yeah, really strong results, or strong position at the moment for him, with a good nearly 2 second gap, which is actually extending by the looks of it as well. So that's really strong result at the moment.
Spoke to him on the podium after Brands Hatch, and of course he's running. That's a big amount of contact there, and I think that was Tom O'Farrell who I was about to single out and say let's have a look at what Tom's doing, because he was actually notching up towards point scoring position, but finds himself down the order now in 22nd behind Ethan Hamilton, so it's not going to be any points to the man from Isla in this one, which is a big pity because he was having a strong race up to that point. There is the Holiday Homes Isla car getting stuck in. We've got a contact on the back end of Ethan Hamilton. Been watching Jason Plato and Matt Neal. I think probably more Matt Neal, isn't it, that punts people off more than Jason Plato. And I can say that because they're not listening.
Don't worry, when I next speak to Matt, I'll make sure I pass on the message.
It's actually so. That was a hard one, wasn't it? There for Tom O'Farrell.
That tyre barrier looks a bit harder than it does in real life.
Yeah, concrete filled that one, I think. So Jordan Brennan still working hard in fourth place. He was going to go on to say that Matt Neal, who's from the Oxfordshire region, different spelling to my surname, Neal, but our surname was NEAL back several generations, so we need to look into see whether we're related or not. The genealogy suggests we might be, as we're from the same neck of the woods. But anyway, back to the mainstay of this race, and the inset you can see Jack McIntyre trying to close down on the race leader Max Edmondson. He's got a little bit of a break now over Matt Richards, having done the work to get past. Jordan Brennan is the white car, running a little bit wide, trying to get back up onto another podium. So Brennan again, he's quick, but he's very consistent as well, Jordan Brennan, and trying to close in, but so too is Matt Richards in that 44 car. Hasn't given up the chance of maybe taking a P2 or trying to get on with Max Edmondson for the lead.
Yes, it's not over yet, is it?
No, it's not. So through Hislop's the chicane, then out through Knickerbrook. A brief look there at Josh Hislop, 11th position, so in the points. Damien Alston in the points, incidentally. And Liam Lambert, 14th, he's in the points as well, being chased by Dave Marshall. So Marshall with some damage limitation to do after his wide moment. Andy Dorman 16th behind him. But good to see Liam Lambert up in the points, so he's going to be in that Lux Motorsport car looking to try and bang in a first point. He's been close to the points before, 17th Brands Hatch race 1, 18th Donington Park race 2, so he's been strong on both of the circuits he's raced on so far, and running well. Josh Hislop chases down Josh Martin. Rob Butler clawing his way back up the order as well. Rob just outside the points at the moment. The next driver he will try and get past is Dave Marshall. Jordan Brennan has a wide moment. Let's see whether Max Coates can make the most of this. The white car of Jordan Brennan going off, and Max Coates goes around the outside line, make the most of that, have more momentum. Coates up into fourth position. He hasn't turned the lights up, has he?
No, if we could see him, we won't actually be able to see the concentration, but we can't see him.
And now Dan Zelos in the mix as well, trying to come through and pass Jordan Brennan. So that was very definitely, and Jordan, I apologise, curse of the commentator, me saying how fast and consistent he was. Has a little off, runs wide, coats through into fourth place. It's a bit of a trade for fourth at the moment. Now, given that McIntyre and Richards are dicing hard, in theory, if they work together, they should be able to close in. Mike Epps in seventh. He hasn't made as much progress as we've seen the front runners do through the field in other races so far this year. But a good point score, 7th position for him. Dave Marshall still 15th, Liam Lambert in 14th. Max Coates leading this quartet. Jordan Brennan will be dead keen to get that car back in front of the Yorkshireman Max Coates. Mike Epps catching up as well. You can see the...
Yeah, he's on the back of that track. He could quite easily catch get a few more points, couldn't he, if he just picks up those places.
He could indeed. That livery, incidentally, of Mike Epps car, actually reminiscent of those of you who might have watched some of the club racing that I've commentated on, actually reminds me a little bit of Ron Burley's Escort WRC livery that he had. It'd be great to see Ron Burley do a little bit of racing, e-racing. and we'll have to see whether we can sort that out. Rod, who's like a current day Jerry Marshall in terms of the number of wins that he's taken in club racing, all forms of motorsport over the years. So it does remind me of his livery, Rod Burley. But here we go. This is the battle for fourth place. Max Coates leading them at the moment. Jordan Brennan still trying to get back on, and Mike Epps here will sense that he has got the opportunity to pick off some more points here amongst his real world drivers. It's the Levante eSports car that is the immediate target. Still that great battle on for second, and a great drive out front from Max Edmondson with 3 minutes 25 on the clock. I better start looking at the clock just to see how long we have got to go on this one. It's all good close stuff at the minute, and Edmondson is going to deserve this race, Anthony, if he can hold on, I think.
Oh, for sure. He's ultimately just consistently banging in the laps and managed to manage the gap back to second place. Obviously, a few people have been in that position trying to close that gap, but not been able to do so. So, no, a great drive from him.
Jack McIntyre, at the moment, Dave Marshall down in 13th place, which is 3 points, and McIntyre P2 will get 17, and that's a big chunk of points out of Dave Marshall's championship lead for the sim class. So, this is going to put McIntyre very much. You'd be thinking that he can score the points and potentially take the battle right the way to the end of the year, and maybe get that drive in the Cooper Championship as we ride on board with Jordan Brennan again chasing Max Coates. Nice to see the blue skies here, isn't it, at Oulton Park? We usually have some good sunny days. Had some nasty horrible wet days at Oulton as well, the track that we normally don't start racing at on a Sunday until late on. It tends to be midday, and it's one of the tracks where in the Toka paddock you just get the chance on the Sunday morning to do something you can't do at other tracks because of the noise limitations. Because it starts late, you actually get the chance to go around the paddock and talk to some of the drivers. Couldn't do that last year, of course, because we were all in our respective bubbles, but when we get back to normality, it's one of the pleasures of going to Oulton Park is having a wander around and chatting to everybody.
And it is just such a beautiful place.
It is, yeah. It's a wonderful circuit, and great locals as well. It's a massively supported event as well. One of those old-fashioned tracks where you can sort of spend the race day walking around the track and watching from different vantage points. 1:34 on the clock. This is the battle for fourth place. 1, 2, 3, Max Edmondson, Jack McIntyre and Matt Richards. Max Coates is fourth. I don't think Max is going to be able to bag a podium here, but he is ahead of Jordan Brennan, who was heading up towards the podium in a strong fourth position before that moment. Dan Zelos still in sixth place. Mike Epps is seventh. Then the gap back is lost Robin Stapleton. Robin's still there though in eighth place. Then Ryan Elliott ninth. Josh Hislop 10th from Isaac Smith. Dave Marshall is in 12th place now, ahead of Damien Hall. Liam Lambert still in the points, I'm pleased to say, 14th, ahead of Josh Martin. Rob Butler trying to get in the points as well. 16th from Andy Dorman. Luke Kidsley, Jack Noller 19th. Ethan Hamilton rounding out the top 20 at the moment as we watch the concentration on Max Coates' face. Again, looking pretty relaxed, isn't he, Max? Despite the fact he's under pressure, as you can see. Main shot from Jordan Brennan, who looks around the outside.
No, he certainly does. As much as we can see him with the lighting levels, he's certainly looking pretty relaxed there, definitely. It'll be interesting to see whether he can keep that position. Certainly under pressure, though.
I'll stick some candles in the post to Coates' garage at Scorton, I think. And 4 candles would be the thing to do. So there you go, you can have a prize. You can send some candles up to him if you want to. Anyone's watching that. Coates' garage, Scorton, North Yorkshire. That's the address. 12 seconds on the clock to go, so when the clock runs down, it's an additional lap for Max Edmondson, who is going to, I think, grab his maiden win here. He's been on the podium already, but it's been a super drive from him out front. Fastest lap, I'm not sure. The map scrolling to have a look at that, see who gets the bonus point. But Epps, I think, is going to reclaim the championship lead here outright, and will pull away from Robbie Stapleton, who's second in the real world standings at the moment. Robbie, remember, in 8th position in this one as they go across the line. Now, did Max Edmondson cross the line before the clock went down? He did. We are on the final lap. Thank you, Mike, for pointing that out. Here is Max Coates still gamely holding on to 4th position from Jordan Brennan. Dan Zelos in 6th. Mike Epps at the back of that quartet, running from 4th to 7th place. Edmondson still there. 1.013 seconds from Edmondson, the man who was momentarily quickest in practice at the start of the day, and lapping well, best lap 1 minute 30.4. Have a quick whiz down the times. I'll tell you what, there aren't too many drivers, I don't think. You might even have the fastest lap as well, Max Edmondson. That to be officially confirmed as we watch Mike Epps, who should go away with the championship lead by my maths, still there. But the inset shows Edmondson coming through the chicane for the last time here at Oulton Park, still clear. Jack McIntyre has driven a solid race to come through, has built a bit of a lead over Max Richards in third. But two entertaining races, Anthony.
Oh, very much so. It's action all the way through, really. So no, it's really good to see it. Edmondson, yeah, solid result as far as I'm concerned. I'm pretty sure he's got the fastest lap too, as you say. But obviously, official confirmation to follow. But no, really good drive from him. Really good drive.
Don't forget to let us know who you think is your driver of race 2 and indeed driver of the day here. Max Edmondson, for me, it's sometimes easy to pick the winner of the race as the driver of the race, but he's done a super job out front. And Edmondson is going to take his first win in the official UK Mini Challenge E-Series, grabs the win. Jack McIntyre in second place, Matt Richards takes third. So we've got 3 different drivers on the podium, which is exactly what we wanted to see. Super stuff. Back to coach in 4th place from Jordan Brennan. Dan Zelos 6th. Mike Epps, championship leader 7th from Stapleford. Ryan Elliott 9th, and then Isaac Smith in 10th. We'll have a look through those a little bit later on once things have calmed down. We've got everybody across the line as I jot down our podium finishers from our second race of the day here at Oulton Park. So our winner was Max Edmondson, and just have a quick look at the best lap there, 1 minute 30.4, and just scrolling down quickly, I think he probably held on to fastest lap. Looks like he did.
Yeah, I think by a sort of 10th or 2 actually. Yeah, just about a 10th, I think, probably from Jack McIntyre actually. So yeah, it's a great result for him.
Superb race,
4 points.
Performance. Yeah, well done, Max. So Jack McIntyre second, Matt Richards in third from Max Coach, Jordan Brennan 5th, Dan Zelos 6th place from Mike Epps, Robbie Stapleford 8th from Ryan Elliott, Isaac Smith completing the top 10. Then it was Josh Hislop and Dave Marshall. Damien Hall in the points again, 13th place for him. Rob Butler worked his way back to get into the points 14th, and the last point going to Josh Martin. Andy Dorman just outside those points, Luke Gidsley and Jack Noller. Ethan Hamilton 19th and Liam Lambert, who sadly dropped away outside the points in the latter stages. Jack Davidson next up, Kenny Press and Simon Reed. Tom O'Farrell had a bit of a hit at the mid-race. He was 24th from Alpha Belly. And Craig Timmins seemingly out of luck and just completed a couple of laps